Wanted to just start off today by looking at a few different assignments that we have here in Google Classroom that I want to make sure that you guys are aware of. So let's first talk about, of course, we're going to start here with AVP 1. Let me fade this in real fast so you guys can see kind of what I'm seeing here. Audio Video 1, folks, we are starting on a unit called Radio Broadcasting Sweeps and Commercials. If you've never heard an audio sweep or a radio sweep, let me get one for you real fast. That way that you can see kind of what they sound like. Oop, that would be an advertisement. Give me 2 seconds to make sure. Waiting on an advertisement here. All right. Two advertisements. All right, so here's kind of what they sound like. This is your sweeps. Yep, so there's some good idea. There's a good idea. Here's another one. Kind of some weird ones. This is exactly kind of what sweeps sound like. Of course, they give you the ability to... actually, I don't know that you guys could hear those. No, you can't because I didn't push them up. Here are the... Mixing
the beats. In the mix.
Hi, this is Britney Spears.
What up, this Jay-Z.
This is Jennifer Lopez.
The mix with the hottest DJ.
And a lot of times you hear them like 106.1 KISS FM. You've heard them before. And I want to make sure that you guys have the ability to utilize utilize the ability to do sweeps to, of course, create the best one you can. There's a 3-part system to sweeps. You can come down here and watch all about that with Mr. Mike Russell. He's going to give you guys kind of how the rule of 3 for radio sweeps works. And then, of course, you can make, you can go down here And I've given you also just another way, just another cool video how to make sweeper effects. Those of you that are able to download Audacity, this is probably a really good idea for you guys. And then, of course, last but not least, I've given you a third video that tells you exactly how to make a promo or a commercial. This one is utilizing a song that he already has. And what he does here is he creates a really awesome radio sweep using a few different ideas. In the middle here, you'll see he starts to create some really cool ideas with this song by Kesha, I believe. And then as he gets closer to the end of the video, you'll see that he starts to record his own voice. Where it is, there it is. So he starts to record his own voice, and he places those things above his vocals that he recorded in this purple track. So this is a really great way to make promos or commercials. You've heard them also before. The mattress commercials. You've also heard Stanley Steamer, it's da-na-na-na. You've heard all those before. This is nothing new. Most of you guys have already heard many of these like promo commercials before. Most of this is not new to the majority of you, so I know that this is going to be pretty simple and easy for many of you to pick up on. So if you don't yet understand how to do the work here, first things first. If you'll look, I've actually given them to you in Google Docs. Basically, complete the 2 Google Docs below, and you're good to go. You see how it says Submission 1 here, Submission 2 here. Super easy for you guys to follow if you click in here to Submission 1. Get rid of these classroom tabs up here. I've given you an entire example in your first section. An entire example of a promo commercial. So this is not a sweep, right? So a sweep is 106.1 Kiss FM, whatever, right? That's a sweep. This is a commercial. This is your Stanley Steamer. It's da-na-na-na. Well, this commercial I've given you is actually a Honda commercial. You guys have probably heard this one before. It's the Rusty Wallace, king of the Honda store. Okay, that's kind of what we're going for here. In fact, it shows us that we're, lively guitar music. The idea here is that anything vocal happens in the left side of the script. Anything music and sound effects happens here in the center. And then any durations of those happen over here on the right side in duration. Okay? So if you'll look closely, I've given you all of the vocal scripting in the middle of the vocal scripts. So Rusty Wallace, king of the Honda store, sweeping whoosh, whoosh. Continue the lively guitar. Dee, 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 dee. Hey, my name is Rusty, and you're not going to believe the prices on new Honda Civics. Sweeping whoosh and money cha-ching sound. Cha-ching. Dee, 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 dee. Civics for $279 down and 0% APR at financing. Sweeping whoosh. And then another guitar. Ridge Lines for $379 down and 0%. See, I'm just creating a commercial here. It's just a radio commercial. Remember, we can't see anything that's happening. All we can do is hear. So you have to create the sweep for us using this 3-column script. And this is how we script. This is how we script these out so that we can show them to producers and say, hey, producer, do you like what I'm doing here with this sweep? If so, I'm looking at trying to do some of these things with these sound effects. Or usually what they'll do is they'll use their sound effects library that everybody knows, and they'll put SWTR4.wave or money.mp3 or sweeping.mp4 or whatever it is that they're using as their music sound effects library. And they're going down that. And of course they say, hey, this is what I want to do. Does this make sense? Head of the company says, yeah, that sounds great. Send it to everybody in the Metroplex. Sends it to all the radio stations, and all the radio stations play it. That's why you hear it in your head all the time. Well, down here you get to create your own. Okay? So now your turn to create your promotional commercial script. So come down here and create your own. You can use a company that already exists. Do not use a commercial that already exists, all right? Don't try to create something like recreate the Stanley Steamer commercial or Empire Today, or don't try to recreate those, all right? I want you to make your own. If it's for a random business that you don't, that kind of exists but doesn't really exist, you can do that. If you have maybe something that you just like to make up a random, as long as it is appropriate, you can make up your own business and put it in here as well. All right, so this should be pretty simple. I think I've already had about 3 or 4 of you guys already submit this. Second thing, here in this second Google Doc, so submission number 2, let's click on that and see what's happening. This is your actual radio sweep. So this is the 106.1 Kiss FM Dallas Fort Worth. So usually it says, you know, Dallas Fort Worth, or the #1 top 40 radio station in America. So a lot of times you'll see those or hear those on the radio. What I'd like you to do is down here, create your own. Make that bold, that way you guys can see it. Create your own in the last row here, okay? So you can put your own radio station if you wanted to do 103.1. My awesome radio station, playing the best country hits. You're more than welcome to do that, all right? And then, of course, down here, all you're doing is you're going to list your top 5 radio station favorite radio station sweeps, okay? So, for example, if you like the 106.1, go ahead and put that down there. If you like, for example, one of my favorites is 102.9 now, and then it does the little thing at the very end where it kind of decomposes into the song and has this really cool thing. So I do that, and then of course I'm going to explain why it piques the listener's interest. Okay, I'm going to talk about, well, it sounds really cool. The phasers that they use sound really cool. Talk about the vocabulary that Mr. Mike puts in his video, okay? So let's go look at that real fast. He talks about in his radio sweep thing, or his radio sweep video here, about a lot of different things. Taglines, he talks about naming, he talks about number identification, he talks about how to create and put effects, he talks about cutting these pieces apart, he talks about identifiers, different effects that he puts on there. Of course, he also goes in depth about some of the sound effects that he puts down here in the bottom and lining them up on the beat. Oop, hello puppy. And lining them up on the beat. So if you are interested in that, and you are you're interested in talking about those musical effects that he does, guys, use that to your advantage, man. That's great vocabulary to put in here. So say the musical effects were really awesome because they sounded like ... They piqued the listener's interest by creating really cool modern sounds that make them want to listen. Better yet, 106.1 does a really cool thing with theirs where they get what is it? They have a bunch of other celebrities come on the Kiss FM thing, because Kiss FM is a big fat conglomerate, right? They have a bunch of Kiss FM stations everywhere in America, but they have a bunch of people, like it'll say, hey, this is Justin Bieber, this is Taylor Swift, and you're listening to Kiss FM. That piques the listener's interest because that's when they go, oh, well, that person's going to be on there. I like listening to this person. I'm going to stay on the station. So that would be a great thing to put in here, all right? I'm going to go ahead and look real fast, take a second, and look at live stream. Anybody asking any questions? Let's take a second and look at the Google Hangout. I haven't heard any little doops yet, so it doesn't look like anybody's got us any questions just yet. Gonna continue working here with AVP stuff. If you have any questions, please ask. I'm gonna be sending out a portion of this later. I'm actually going to be recording this later in a little bit smaller of a frame. That way that you guys can kind of see this a little bit easier. So you guys will have that at your disposal later. All right, now the next thing we need to talk about, of course, is the, well, I missed bell ringers in attendance, so let me talk about that real fast. Students, let's start with bell ringers and attendance. If you have not yet figured it out, this is how we are taking attendance in Google Classroom. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show you my AVP1 class. This is sweeps and commercial. This is their assignment for this week. Below that, hey, Below that is Journal 27A. This is the journal for this week, and then, of course, the day for which it's being recorded. When you click into that, you'll notice 6 people have already done it for this class. Good for you guys. These go live at midnight the day of, and they go offline midnight after that, okay? And that's the only time that we can actually take attendance records. So make sure that you guys are paying attention to that. You cannot get these in for late assignments. We will not accept them because these are for attendance purposes, all right? So all you have to do is go down here, make sure that you follow the rubric. Don't copyright people. Don't plagiarize. In your opinion, what is the most important knob on the soundboard? And it should say and why. I'm going to go ahead and change that for you guys. That way that you can do this well. Make sure that you include those 3 sentences. If you don't, I can't give you credit for it for the actual... I think I also have it here in AVP2. Yes, I do. All right. And, of course, you guys can answer that. That will be your attendance for the day. Let's see who's checked in here. Ooh, good for you guys. 4 people from AVP2 checked in. Make sure you guys do this by midnight, the night that this is actually put out. Make sure that you have done that. So this will be Tuesday. It'll be due Tuesday at midnight. If you haven't yet figured that out, go ahead and do this real fast. If you missed a day, no big deal. Just go ahead and get on it real quick. The next thing I'd like to talk about, of course, is graphic design, 5th and 8th period. We talked about this yesterday. I'm going to go in depth a little bit more on where you can find how to address this, all right? So first things first, let's look at this graphic design. If you will actually go to our channel here on YouTube, I'll show you kind of where your stuff is. If you'll scroll down, you'll see the tab called Playlist, or you'll usually see the playlist down here if you're on a mobile device or a TV. Click on the playlists, and you'll notice that each one of my classes has a playlist. Here in graphic design, if I click on graphic design, you'll notice that the first one to play is the week of March 23rd, and this is where I explained your assignment for the week, which is marketing and design, okay, I go into depth about it. I talk about how you're going to create your confidentiality agreement. I talk a little bit more about how I'm going to put comments on there, helping you guys out through the week. I also talk to you about your 10-step marketing process that you're going to create. A few students had some great questions yesterday. They could only find about 7 different marketing steps in the video that I gave to you guys. If you'll notice down here in Google Classroom, I've given you 2 videos. In our friend's video over here that says new client onboarding, he only gives you about 7 steps. I know that. What I want you to do is create your own 10-step marketing process. This is however you want to craft it and create it, because as a business yourself, you are going to be doing this on your own soon, and you need to be able to know how to do it. This is the client confidentiality video that we talked about a little bit. It gives you a small window into how client confidentiality works. Yes, I know that it's not specific to marketing and graphic design, but it is client confidentiality. Should help you a lot. Then, of course, at the end, when you see this lovely screen again, this, of course, means that that portion is done. There are a bunch of different extra questions that I answer at the end for AVP2 and stuff. I know that might be a little confusing, but just you can bow out right there. And if you are AVP2, go click into that video. You can go find those extra questions if you would like. So yeah, go in there, check that video out. Make sure that you understand how to do that assignment. If not, please send me something in Google Hangouts down here. I'm waiting for anybody that needs any help regarding Google assignments. I have a few people that have, of course, emailed me through another teacher, but you're not in Google Hangouts. Easiest way to contact me right now, email and Google Hangouts. I had a few people comment on the Facebook stream. I had 2 people give me questions on the Facebook. Good for you guys using Facebook. But easiest way to contact me, email and Google Hangout. If you don't know, the Google Hangout is right here. It says Fitzwater's office. It looks a little bit like this. Good for you folks that are already in here. But at the bottom here, looking for my ad link. Sees? Looking for my ad link. Options. You can, if you really want to type all this in, you're more than welcome. This is also in your Google Classroom. I'll show you where it is. At the very top where it says Mr. Fitzwater's office, you can scroll down here. This is your Google Hangout, error 403. This is our YouTube channel, and this is the Facebook if you don't know where those are. All right? All right, just a few questions I'd like to answer about audio-video production 2 real fast. Those of you that are in AVP2, let me get to your class real fast. In here where it's small business production practices, I want to make sure that you know how this is working. You are allowed to use any other website creation, I guess you could say any other website creation domain or CMS service. You can use any of those. That's fine. What I don't want you to do is use one that won't give me a link to see it. I don't want you to also use one that will give you the, hey, this is going to expire in 2 weeks, and you're never going to be able to see it again. So Squarespace does that. I'm not sure if Weebly does that or not, but that's why I gave you guys Wix and G-Site, because these are going to be the great tools for you guys to use to have a site name, and then, of course, be able to create a great-looking website that's going to be able to go out to all of your folks. One thing I want to make sure that you guys know is these websites that we're using, that we are creating, these are going to be utilized and sent out to all of your local businesses that you choose here in the next week so that you can actually get some production experience in the field. I want to make sure that you guys get that opportunity to do those things. So if you have not yet thought about how to make your website professional, make sure that you are making this professional. Don't make it with tons of butterflies and rainbows and fun and funny memes and stuff. This is not that. This is not that time. This is a professional website that we are going to utilize to send to other businesses when we get back in session, to make sure you guys get in field opportunity to work on this. Okay? Another thing I would like to talk to you guys about real fast is a really awesome opportunity for those of you that are interested in doing some real world work. Here in the near future, I am going to be opening up an opportunity at our church down the road, Faith Family Church, for 3 people to be interns at Faith Family Church. It's a non-paid internship, like most internships are. You might get paid in food and other things, though, so that's going to be helpful. But what I would like to do with this, we now have the opportunity to use, let's make sure I have this real fast. I don't want to give you the false information here. That's not what I wanted. We now have the ability to use, we have a switcher much like our switchboard at the school. This is the switchboard that we have at the church. This is the one that we have at the school. It's a little bit more intense, but this is the, you see this bottom row? That's the bottom row, okay? We're using this at the church to run these things. We're also using OBS. So this is giving you real world experience into a live production process. If you are interested in doing the live production process and you would like to do that internship and you really are interested in doing something like this, I need you to email me or send me a Google text, Google Hangout, I mean. You can send it to you can send it to my email. If you guys don't know what my email is yet, God help you. But you can send it to my email. Let me go ahead and set this real fast, and I will put it on screen for you. But you can send your request to my email, and that email, of course, jordan.fitzwater@communityisd.org. Okay, that's going to give you the ability to get in on that. Now, this is not a real-world depiction yet. I have not started this yet, okay, because we are not in session for school. So I know that some of you actually do go to church with us. Please do not think that this internship is starting right now. I am trying this out with a few people to see what this kind of looks like. But if you are interested in doing a sort of internship like this, this is something that can go on a resume where hey, I've done live productions before, and I will sign off on that. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I will give you volunteer hours for this when school gets back in session. This is a possibility for those of you that would like real world experience in a live production setting. Okay, so if you are interested in something like that, using the ATEM switcher that you already are going to be using in class here soon, doing a live production, utilizing OBS. Okay, if you don't know what OBS is, this is OBS. This is what I use to stream to you guys. Okay, make sure that you email me ASAP. I'll get you some extra information on that, and we can talk about that later. All right. All right, so the last thing I had was graphic design, PIT. You guys already know you should be working on yearbook stuff. AVP2, you should be working on your websites. Graphic design, working on confidentiality agreements. And AVP1, you are working on your promo commercial. I will see you guys soon. If you have any questions, please put them in the live chat. Find me on Google Hangout. Slap an email to me, jordan.fitzwater@communityisd.org. I'd be more than happy to take your calls, folks, or your text, folks. I will see you guys soon. Make sure that you're getting your work done, and make sure that you do your attendance.
Cheney, Salina Mayer, Sean.
The following audio was from a live music session recorded at the studios of KBOO Community Radio in Portland, Oregon. More information about KBOO can be found online at kboo.org.
The Trippers, the Grasshoppers, the Hip Ones, the Trippers, the Grasshoppers, the Hip Ones. Flying high as a kite. Flying high as a kite. With a propeller. To society. Shame, arrest, prison. So destroy evidence. The Trippers. The Grasshoppers. The Hip Ones. The Trippers. Trippers. Grasshoppers. The Hip Ones.
walking through the forest with blood on our hands. We got lost in such a foreign land where I spent my youth dropping coins in a wishing well. In hopes one day that I would find a story to tell. I will regrets of soulless empty life. It's a burden that keeps me awake at night. We bless the sun 'cause it gave light to our days. We cursed our youth 'cause it wouldn't stay. We swore in blood that our hope would remain. Such fragile hopes are destined to break. I search the sacred text while trapped in a pew. All I discovered left me confused. I found no answers, only disputes. I see no love in these people's truth. We bless the sun 'cause it gave light to our days. We cursed our youth